Well, thanks everybody for coming at this late hour, and I'll ask Glenn just a sec to explain why the timing of all of this. For me, personally, it's a great honour and indeed a pleasure for the second time in a decade to announce that Newfoundland and Labrador is going from a had-not province to a had province. The speculation that has been rumoured over the course of the last week is all true. We're here today, Glenn and I, to announce very proudly that Mile 1 Stadium will be the home for the next 2 years of the Montreal Canadiens AHL farm team, formerly the Hamilton Bulldogs. We're very, very pleased to announce that. From our own perspective, to enter into a relationship with the Canadiens club and Jeff Molson and his fabulous team, of course, of which Glenn is familiar, they're truly an iconic and a legendary club and an organisation. And I might dare to say that probably the greatest hockey franchise in the entire world. So for us to team up with them and to get the benefit of their organisation, having just dealt with an outstanding organisation in Winnipeg, and to be able to carry on from here and to again offer the fans of St. John's and indeed all of Newfoundland and Labrador hockey, professional hockey, for at least 2 more years is truly a great privilege. From our own perspective, our relationship with True North Sports and Entertainment has been an outstanding one, and this is not the end, of course, of that relationship at this point in time, and that's what makes this announcement a little bit awkward, because preferably it would be at the end of a hockey season. We've got playoffs to go to yet, we've got a Calder Cup to win, so we've still got a lot of time ahead of us. But the organisation has been outstanding to deal with, and if not for Glenn and the Winnipeg organisation, the True North Sports and Entertainment, we would not have had professional hockey back here in this province. When we look at their record in the last 3 years, top 4 or final 4 in a conference final, final 2 in a Calder Cup final. That's not bad for 2 out of 3. And on that basis as well, I want to extend a special thanks to the coaching staff, the entire coaching staff, the training staff, and indeed the players who played for the St. John's Ice Caps over the past 3 and the current 4th year that they've been here. We've travelled with them, we've seen how they conduct themselves, not only on the ice, off the ice. They are and continue to be outstanding ambassadors for this province. We're very, very proud of what they've accomplished, and of course some of them have been with us the entire time, and some of them have, and they also of course have great futures. I think from their perspective, you know, a chance to be in the home of their parent organisation, I think is a good opportunity for them, because they'll certainly be under the watchful eye of their entire coaching staff. So I'm sure there's a lot of nostalgia in leaving St. John's, because we've adopted them. They're true Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. But then from a professional perspective too, they also have an opportunity here, and we respect that. What we're focused on now, though, is making sure that they see the season through, that they have a very successful season. They've worked very, very hard. They've entertained the fans of St. John's, who we have to thank explicitly, of course, for their support. You know, sellout crowds for over 3 years. 1 record in the American Hockey League, came close to breaking a 2nd record. They've given us great support, and they've given us great corporate support as well. You know, our lead sponsor, of course, has been Molson's, and of course now it's only fit and appropriate that the Molson's organisation is coming to Newfoundland and Labrador, so we're delighted to announce that. From our own perspective, our staff, you know, I can't thank Glenn and his staff. We had a meeting with our staff this afternoon and informed them of the authenticity of the rumours and the speculation. And we both thank them for putting us in a position that an organisation like the Montreal Canadiens considered St. John's and the Ice Caps organisation worthy of coming to our town and being part of us. So I want to extend a special thanks to Glenn. Glenn has had a long record in the AHL, over 20 years now. He was actually, Kier was very dark, black when he first got into it. It's whitened more even over the last couple of years since he's been working with me, but he still managed to hold up. But he's our governor. He's on the board of directors of the AHL, and he'll speak to that. But I want to thank him personally for bringing his experience to this organisation, but as well bringing his connections with the league and the respect that he has within the league as a fellow governor and as a gentleman who's run several organisations in the AHL. His special relationships with those governors, but as well with the Hamilton Bulldogs and with the Canadiens. Glenn was with the Canadiens for over 5 years and was part of a Calder Cup championship team. So on that basis, Glenn, I'm going to throw it to you and basically say if we don't win a Calder Cup this year, we certainly expect one next year. So that's where it is. Thanks.
Yeah, my hair certainly has gotten greyer over the last 2 years with you, that's for sure. Just kidding. Just to let just to let you know the process, what happened today, and the reason for the late press conference. The Board of Governors of the American Hockey League met via conference call at 4:30 Newfoundland time this afternoon to go over two transactions. One transaction was the move of the ownership of the Hamilton Bulldogs to the Montreal Canadiens from Michael Andlauer in Hamilton, and as Danny mentioned, the second was to relocate to here in St. John's. It's a complicated process that happened over the last 6 weeks, kind of fast-tracked. There's other announcements being made in Hamilton with regards to what's happening there and the replacements that they have going in there. With regards to our announcement, really thanks to two people in particular, Dave Andrews from the American Hockey League, who seems to have a special bond here with us here in St. John's. He was in Cape Breton. I met Dave back in 1991 when I came in the league, actually 25 years, Danny, though it feels like 20. Back in 1991, he was the GM of the Cape Breton Oilers, and it was actually our group with the St. John's Maple Leafs at the time that nominated Dave to be the president of the American Hockey League back in 1993-94. So Dave has a special place in his heart here for St. John's, and he was instrumental in kind of moving this thing forward. But the big domino player was Michael Andlauer in Hamilton, who really had to have two hats. Mike is also part owner of the Montreal Canadiens, and the announcement they're making as to who's replacing there in Hamilton. So, but I think the important thing that Danny had mentioned with regards to St. John's, and it's not one individual, it's not the people up here, it's really the fans in St. John's. And when you talk to Jeff Molson and the announcement that he made today, and when he was on the conference call today, he talked about the excitement of the people here in St. John's. So it really is a tip of the hat to our corporate partners, to our season ticket holders, to our fans, as to why our reputation around the American Hockey League is so good. And when you have full houses here at Mile 1, when you have partnerships that are one of the top in the league, it's easy to attract those people that kind of come here. With regards to the process moving forward here, we do have a season ticket base that have been absolutely wonderful over the last 4 years supporting us. The question that they'll be asking is, will their seats be protected? And absolutely their seats will be protected. If you're a 3-year season ticket holder with us, you'll have priority selection. If you're a 1-year season ticket holder with us, you will have priority selection. Tomorrow morning at 12 o'clock at the box office, we will be taking new inquiries for season ticket holders for those who want to become season ticket holders in the future. As I said, the American Hockey League. I've been a big fan of the American Hockey League, probably because I've been paid for the last 25 years through 4 or 5 different franchises. As you can see with the support that we have here, you can see with the type of hockey that's been played here with the Winnipeg Jets. This league is a very, very good league, and it's going to continue to be an exceptional league with the Montreal Canadiens. And as Danny said, hats off to Mark Chipman, Kevin Cheveldayoff, Craig Heisinger with the Winnipeg Jets, who 4 years ago took a chance on St. John's when nobody else would, and really paved the way for us to be here today.
Questions?
How did this deal come about? Did you approach the Montreal Canadiens, or was it vice versa?
I'll start and Glenn finish up. We've been working pretty hard, probably more than a year now. Glenn's been a year and a half. When we first thought we were down to the last year with Winnipeg, before we got the extension last September, we started to shop around. And we started to put feelers out. We did up a very good prospectus and put it out there to the teams and said, look, we're interested in finding another team here. This is a great location, a great spot. So anyway, we went through several processes, and Glenn, always in the back of his mind said, there's a possibility. You never know. We could get the Canadiens, but of course it depends, on Mike and Hamilton and what Mike's wishes are and what he plans on doing. And so that process took place for a while, and then finally and very, very quickly it came together. But as Glenn said, there were several dominoes. If one had to pull away or one had to fall away, if Winnipeg had not decided to move back and stayed in their contract, well then that team wasn't going anywhere. If Mike hadn't made an availability, nothing would have happened, and if the Canadiens hadn't been available. I think that's close.
Yeah, no, it's actually pretty accurate. There were 4 dominoes that had to fall, of which we control none. And once the first domino fell, as Danny suggested, that other things started to fall in place pretty quickly, and really started to take shape around the NHL All-Star Game, the American Hockey League All-Star Game in the middle of January. So, as Danny said, we've been out looking for a year because we knew last year was our last year, and we can't be in a situation looking next year for something that's going to happen the following year. You really got to be doing that now. And we've approached a number of NHL teams quite openly with Winnipeg's support because they knew that we had 1 year left. We weren't doing anything behind anybody's back, nothing behind closed doors. And the opportunity with Montreal came. And I guess when you get those types of opportunities, you try to grab onto it pretty quick. And we got very lucky with a lot of things that had to happen, but fortunately they happened for us.
And we reached out. Glenn kept in close contact with Dave as a governor of the American Hockey League, so he was there in that. He had an existing and very good relationship with Mike in Hamilton, and same with Molson's, and of course being a corporate sponsor of ours. And I put a call in myself to Jeff Molson probably 8 or 9 months ago and said, look, if you're looking, and if there's a period where you could be available to St. John's, then keep us in mind. He said, sure will. And of course then he came back, and through his organisation, through Kevin
Gilmore.
Glenn has been dealing with Kevin Gilmore, and of course it's happened. And they ended up being a very easy piece of the equation. When I say easy, I mean they were interested, and they came to the table.
So is this a done deal now?
Oh yeah.
It was still all things ice caps, I assume so.
The team name? Yeah, the team name will remain the St. John's Ice Caps, and that's really the decision we made 4 years ago. We knew 4 years ago that when Winnipeg moved here, they were in the Eastern Conference of the National Hockey League at the time. They were the old Atlanta Thrashers, and we knew at some point in time that they were going to move to the Western Conference, and at that point in time, geography would become a problem. So we were well aware of all of this back 4 years ago, and when we decided to come up with a name, we wanted a name that kept here in St. John's. We didn't want to call ourselves the St. John's Jets and then 3 or 4 years later have to call ourselves something else. And it's very common in our league. You take a look at the Portland Pirates, who've had 5 or 6 or 7 different affiliations over the years. The Hershey Bears, the oldest team in the American Hockey League, have gone through 8 or 9 different affiliations, and they still remain the Hershey Bears. So, yeah, the name of our team will remain the St. John's Ice Caps.
And does Montreal still own the franchise, as True North does?
Yeah, the owner of the franchise is the Montreal Canadiens, exactly. Yeah.
Are you concerned about losing maybe any fan support because of switching affiliations from Montreal or from the Winnipeg Jets to
let me have a quick crack at that first. Yeah. First of all, if any Boston Bruins fans out there, Toronto Maple Leafs fans, or Detroit Red Wings fans, suck it up and support the St. John's Ice Caps, because that's what they are at the end of the day. There might be a couple. I don't expect to be very many. I mean, this is a great hockey town. And I think they'll come out to support their team, the St. John's team. So I think we're going to be in good shape there. You may get a few, but there's overwhelming support right now, I can tell you, for people who want to come in and want to get season tickets. The box office has been called, we've been called, we feel a call. Just so we get the priority straight, 3-year season ticket holders get top priority. Then the next priority is existing 1-year season ticket holders. The next priority will be people who basically become season ticket holders for the last 6 games of this year. If you buy the last 6 games of this year, then you'll be on a priority list for the remaining, I guess, 1,000 season tickets that are left out there. And then after that, then it'll go generally to the public. So there is a ranking priority, and that'll get you in the queue. But anybody else can put their name on the list. But it's just a question of how many get eaten up. And I think we'll sell out. I really honestly do. I could be wrong, but.
Are you putting in any extra incentives maybe to woo fans back?
The Habs. Really honestly, and I'm not trying to be blunt with you. Quite honestly, I just think there's a lot of Canadian fans out there, and there's a lot of fans who support other teams, who respect the Canadiens organisation. And the Canadiens organisation, as Glenn has seen, are going to bring a very good brand of hockey here too. As good or better than the team that we have. And I couldn't ask for any more, and we couldn't ask for any more than the guys who play for us here. I mean, they've just been an outstanding group of people. And the only thing I don't like is having to doing this right now. It'd be much better if we could do it at the end of the season, but you're out there watching this, guys. We're with you all the way, and we're going to get into those playoffs, and we're going to get there.
Montreal is a lot closer than Winnipeg. Will that have any impact on travel concerns that are always coming up when we have an additional team?
Well, it'll be a positive impact, no question about that, because daily flights from St. John's to Montreal. We're connecting in Halifax. Montreal are in the Eastern Conference, so when the NHL team are playing, most of the time they're in the East. And as I said, with Winnipeg for the first 2 years, when they were in the Eastern Conference, we didn't have any problems call-ups because they were in our side of North America. But when they're playing in Los Angeles and San Jose and Anaheim, the last time I tried to get from St. John's to Los Angeles for a game at 7:30 at night, I never got there. And if I did get there, I was in no shape to play. I'm in no shape to play anyway. It didn't make any difference. But yeah, so I think I think when we were looking at a replacement team, certainly somebody from the Eastern Seaboard made sense for all the geography that you're thinking about.
When you started the ice caps a few years ago, I think you were looking for 3-year commitments for season ticket sales. Are you going to go beyond the 2 years or 2 or 3 year possibility, or is it just going to be?
It'll be 2. It'll just be 2 because we have a 2-year commitment. You know, fingers crossed, gosh, you know, anything could happen, but we have a 2-year commitment in Canadians, so that's as far out as we'll go. So people who take that 2-year commitment will have they'll be higher on a priority list than someone who takes 1. That's just the fairest way we can do it.
Any change in ticket prices in the offing? Or
for newbies, for want of a better term, there will be a modest change in ticket price. We haven't decided on what that's going to be yet, but there'll be a modest change. But for season ticket holders who stay through all the way and are existing now, the 3 years price will stay the same. And then depending on what option people take, whether it's 1 year or 2 years, there'll be a slight increase.
Why will there be a slight difference in ticket prices?
It's just, you know, it's basically to cover increased costs. I mean, you know, our travel should be okay, but, you know, our operational costs are going up all the time. You know, I want to point out, too, that, you know, the rent reduction. Imagine if I had to say subsidy, that would have been a nice strap, but anyway. If the rent reduction that the city gave us was instrumental in making this happen, because the Winnipeg extension would not have happened if that hadn't happened. In the same way now, I mean, even though the affiliation fee went up, and is higher than it was originally. The fact that we have that contribution to the city now, that also enables us to carry the freight. I mean, our expenses have gone up every year. We're by far the most expensive club to operate in the entire American Hockey League. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
And the subsidy doesn't change for the visiting teams coming in.
Yeah.
So we're still paying a subsidy for the visiting teams that have come in, which is substantial.
Yeah, it is.
So.
That's it. Lots of photo ops here.
In the shoulder.
That could tell me to hold it up higher.
Yeah, no. Not the two of them.
All good?
Funny color though.
Thanks, everybody. Anybody got any one-off questions, we're available to do so.